Well, you should have received
What a
3.
joke. It's a joke.
You should have received 3 weeks, except of course after the age of 60 it goes down. And I can't remember how much it goes down by, but there it is.
See, what crack is, they won't keep me on while I get my pension, then they don't need to pay me. Isn't it?
Well, that may well be how
Firing me off.
that may well be how you see it, Bernard. The company may well see it an entirely different way.
Bloody cowboys, you ask me.
Well, you say they're cowboys, but you're happy to work for them for 3 years.
Better no.
Indeed, in your opinion, it seemed to have
Foxy
been.
Tories.
I'm sorry?
Foxy Tories in government.
Well, I don't think the Tory government makes any difference at all. I very much doubt that the Tory government told your company to dismiss 3 welders, to be perfectly frank, Bernard. But you've got to blame somebody. Maybe you're just a crap welder, Bernard, and they wanted to shut you.
Ooh.
Have you ever considered...
You can't do it, Uncle.
I'm sorry?
You can't do it.
Well, I'm not suggesting I can or can't, but Bernard, you are looking for everybody to blame. I always suggest when someone is groping around looking for someone to blame that they ought to look at themselves occasionally. And maybe they just thought, Bernard is a crap welder, how can we get rid of him?
Come on.
I don't know, I'm just suggesting to you that is a possibility. You're perfect, of course.
Yeah, no.
Yes. The world's full of perfect people that haven't got jobs. How do Toby?
Hello.
What do you want?
I want a bit of advice. I've just paid £14 for my hair perm.
Then you're a prat. How do? You're beyond help. No advice in the world will save you. Hello, Jack.
Hello, Alan. I got a letter this morning off council. I breed rats, just a few rats, and I sell the droppings off them. Can this stop me from doing it?
No, they can't. How do Kelly?
Hello, Alan. I'd just like to talk about relationships in general. I've been going with this lad for about 5 months now, and I tapped off on him, and, I get calls, flags...
Excuse me, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right, if a girl tapped off...
What does that mean?
Just went with another lad for one night...
Oh, I see. That's what... Well, it's all right. I just don't know what tapped off means. Now
right.
I do.
Right. Well, if a girl was going out with a lad, and, she tapped off, well, she'd be called slag slut or the lot, by the lads and by other girls. But if the lad tapped off, that's totally different, and I just wanted your opinion on it.
Well, I'm on your side, Kelly. I don't accept that women are any different than men in that respect. If a woman sleeps around, then she's a woman that sleeps around, and she's got the right to... I'm not suggesting you do, by the way, but if it's a woman that sleeps around, she has the right to choose to do so. If it's a man that sleeps around, he too has that right, providing the parties he or she sleep around with are acceptable. I don't mind.
Yeah, well, it happened to me, mate, you see, and I was just wondering. You've heard the expression that man was made first, but had to make a prototype before the refined version was created.
Well, I believe in the equality of the species.
Yeah, well, I just wanted your opinion on it. And I don't think it's fair at all. The girl...
I don't think it's fair either, as I've just indicated.
Called, called all the names under the sun.
Yes, we've resolved that, Kelly.
Yeah, well, when the lad did it...
Yes, we've resolved that, Kelly. It's not really necessary to go over it again, is it?
No, all right, fair enough.
Excellent. How do Alistair?
Yeah, how do Alan? What do you call a scouser at university?
Janitor. How do Mark?
Hello, Alan. I was watching the telly the other night, though. This new program
Where?
came on.
You were watching the telly the other night where?
At home.
Well, why did you say there?
Oh. Anyhow, this taxi driver pulled up. On Channel 4, what now? I don't know if you've seen it or not. I just wanted to know if you were the taxi driver.
No is the answer to that.
Okay.
How do Dave?
Alan, I've been listening to your show for a while and I don't seem to hear it. Any new order?
Any what?
New order.
New order?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Well, it's a really good group.
Oh, I see. Well, it's no problem. I don't play the music, or at least I don't pick it. Somebody else picks it, so
Who
nothing
picks it?
Nothing to do with you.
Oh, can you have a word with him?
No, I don't care what music he chooses.
Matt Critchley,
Goodbye. How do David? Thank you. We'll be with Gary after the break.
Would you like a van that's as easy and comfortable as a car to drive, yet as profitable as a van to run? Well, John Wilding has the answer with the all-new Toyota Light Ace van. It's smaller than its big brother, the High Ace, yet still has a cavernous 121 cubic feet load space inside with easy access through its wide-opening side and rear doors. So to view the new Light Ace, our latest addition to the Toyota commercial vehicle range, come along to John Wilding's, Banbury Garage, Westgate, Morecambe.
John Wilding!
How would you like to hear your very own short story broadcast on Red Rose Radio and win a handsome prize? In association with Lancashire Libraries and Sweetens Bookshops, we're organising a short story contest in 3 sections: adults over 16, teenagers 12 to 16 and children under 12. The stories will be assessed by a panel of judges, and the winning entries in each section will be broadcast in a special programme in the summer. We want stories of 1,000 words or less, and if you want your manuscript back, please enclose a stamped addressed envelope. The contest closes on May the 20th and is open to anyone in the Northwest. Send your entries to Short Story Contest, Red Rose Radio, P.O. Box 301 Preston. Short Story Contest, Red Rose Radio, P.O. Box 301 Preston.
I'll do Gary.
Hello, Alan. I'd like to talk about the driving test. You know when you're reversing, are you allowed to, have you got to keep 2 hands on the steering wheel or just 1?
It would be well advised for you to keep 2.
But you're allowed to keep 1?
No.
No. Also, yeah, you know as I'm not learning to drive it, would they be allowed to run you over because you're a woolly like?
You may not be able to stop yourself.
But it might damage my car.
You probably would damage your car.
Yeah.
Let's face it, the fact that you're in it reduces its value. How do Terry?
Hello, Alan. Here is the world's only 100% effective oral contraceptive. Not tonight, I've got a headache.
That's the one. Only the word no is a better way of telling the joke. How do David?
Hi, you wanted a word to use. Well, in the morning...
I also said I wanted people to write in.
Oh, I thought you said you wanted them to ring in.
No, well, go on, we'll take this one, but no others.
Well, if you...
Just give us the word.
If you want to get rid of...
Give us the word.
It's in Hungarian, so I have to explain it in English.
No, I just want to hear the word.
Yoriget, it means good morning.
Yoriget?
Yeah, it's good morning in Hungarian.
Well, it's no good. I don't want Hungarian words.
Oh, well, I just thought you might like that.
Well, it's a nice story, but I don't want Hungarian words.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's all right. Ta-ra. How do Nick?
Hello. I'd like to talk about police harassment scooterists.
Go on.
Well, I've been riding a scooter for close on 4 years now.
I bet your bum's sore.
Yeah, and everywhere I go I get stopped by police officers.
Well, get a car then. How do Eddie?
I think we should do away with the monarchy.
Why?
Well, it's just a waste of time, isn't it, really? To spend somebody who's getting married, he's getting £50,000 just for getting married.
No, he's not getting that for getting married. That will be what he will receive after his marriage, but he's not getting it for getting married.
Yeah, and I mean, the taxpayer's got to pay £1 million to the Queen every year. It comes out of our pockets, our tax money, what we work
Eddie,
for.
I ask you to come to terms with the fact that the payment we make to the royal family is actually an investment which produces more revenue than the cost.
Well, I don't think so. I mean...
Then you're a cretin. How do Charlie?
I'm on the minute, Angela.
You're not on at all, Charlie. You had your chance and you blew it. You should have talked to me. How do Joey? Goodbye, Joey. How do Craig? How do Craig?
Alan?
Yep.
What do you call a scouser in a Lamborghini?
What's it got to do with you?
A thief.
Oh, I see. How do Matthew?
Hello, Alan. I'd like to say to you and to anybody else that might be listening that I disagree with abortion in every and any circumstance.
Why?
Because it is taking the life of someone who is defenceless. And
indeed it is, but why should a woman be forced to spend her life, 9 months of her life, or possibly about 6 months of her life once it's confirmed, in the full knowledge that the child she is carrying around inside her is the result of a violent rape attack?
Because it is still committing a crime, killing someone, whether she's been raped or not.
First of all, committing a crime is the wrong word to choose.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It's a crime to kill somebody.
Matthew, it is not committing a crime.
Oh, it might be legally.
Wait, Matthew, the word crime is related to law.
Right.
It seems you don't understand the language, Matthew.
Okay, I will rephrase it. It is wrong, in my eyes, to take the life of somebody else.
Do you think it is acceptable for someone such as yourself, by that I mean male, to force a position or to hold a position that would cause some women extreme distress when they have been the victim of an attack by men?
Well, first let me say that the attacks by men are very, very few, because women...
Matthew, you cannot denigrate a crime or...
I'm not doing so.
...or a wrong by
so.
simply saying there's not a lot of it about.
But I'm not doing so.
Go on, I'd like to follow your thesis there.
I'm just saying that it is very, very rare for a woman to become pregnant by rape.
Let me ask you the question, Matthew, whether it should be permissible despite its rarity.
No, it should not be permissible.
So its rarity is irrelevant. If it was happening every other week, if it was happening to every other woman, it would make no difference to your point of view.
Not
so you don't need to introduce ludicrous statistics.
It is not
so would you like
statistic.
So would you like to stay to the point?
It is not
what
a ludicrous statistic.
Would you like to answer the question put to you without referring to a statistic that is ludicrous or otherwise irrelevant, because it has no bearing on your opinion? Would you like to answer the question put to you, which I'll put again? What right has a man got to hold an opinion that would, if it was implemented by government, put a woman in a position of suffering extreme, elongated and prolonged anguish and having her body put at risk as the continuation of a violent attack at the hands of a different but other man?
He has every right to protect a defenceless child.
But has he not first of all got to put his own house in order? You're making rules for women. Why don't you try and make rules for men first?
That is an irrelevance, Alan. That
isn't
is totally irrelevant.
Why is it irrelevant?
It's got nothing to do with the argument whatsoever.
It has. It
hasn't.
It is
My
a sexual...
house has got nothing to do with another woman's house.
It is a sexual argument, and if you want to play semantic games, I suggest you play them with the person that's shouting in the background.
Nobody's shouting in the background.
Somebody just shouted, get off the phone. I agree with them. How do, Alan?
Good evening, Alan. I'd like to talk about industrial tribunals. Earlier on, Bernard...
Just talk about industrial tribunals.
Well, it was a point relevant to something Bernard said.
Bernard wasn't at the industrial tribunal, so I don't see how the relevance could have got there. Would you like to talk about industrial tribunals, or would you like to make way for someone that wants to talk about something entirely different?
The point I'd like to make is that concerning legal aid, and speaking from experience, legal aid isn't granted for industrial tribunal cases because costs are always awarded against the firm.
They are not always awarded against the firm. You are correct that legal aid is not granted in industrial tribunals, but you are not correct in your latter part of your statement.
Oh, I stand corrected.
That's all right. How do, Matthew?
Alan, do you need a licence for a nerve pistol?
I don't know. Ask the cops. How do, Duncan?
Hello. I'd like to talk about the opening of hospices, please. I personally believe that they shouldn't be opened because it's a complete waste of public money.
In what way is it a complete waste of public money?
People are emptying their pockets to open the hospices when people who are going in to die of cancer, and they shouldn't be going in.
With an opinion like that, I think I'd hang up. How do, Paddy?
How do again, Alan?
We're not doing any agains. How do, Paul?
Hello, Alan? Alan, it's me, Paul. Can you hear me?
What does it matter whether I can or can't? Are you going to speak or not?
Yeah, Alan, I want to phone up for. I'm inquiring about disabled people. I'm disabled, paralysed from the waist down, and I'm having a garage erected at the side of my house. Now, what I'd like to know is, I've been trying to get in touch with the Citizens Advice Bureau, and I'm not getting any, go out to them. What I'd like to know, is it possible that I can get some help anyway along the line, through social services or anything like that?
What do you mean? What sort of help?
To help me out pay the garage,
To pay for it?
Sorry?
To pay for the garage?
To pay for the garage, yeah. I'm not working. I've had to so far finance it out of my mobility. I get a mobility allowance every month for £85 a month.
Paddy, Sorry, Paul, not Paddy. In order for you to get a, if you like, Social Security grant to pay for your garage, you would have to prove that it was a need.
Yeah.
Now, why is it a need? The Social Security isn't there to put £5,000 on the value of your house.
No.
So why is your garage a need?
Well, for a start, when being in a wheelchair, when I go out at night times, I leave the chair outside to when I jump in my car, the wheelchair's stuck on the drive all the time.
But of course you could get a wheelchair that collapses and gets in the car with you.
No,
it's somewhat cheaper than a garage, I suggest.
Well, it's not as easy as that, Alan.
Well, it may or may not be easy, but an awful lot of people do that.
Yeah.
I have difficulty in accepting that you have a need for a garage. I fully accept that it'd be a good idea if you had one, but need is what we're talking about, and I very much doubt that there is any way you could get any help, but perhaps an approach to the social services, or the Social Security, to be more accurate, may well assist. It may well be that the social services can find someone prepared to pay for you to have a garage built. I have my doubts, to be honest.
Yeah.
There are more pressing needs on the money, as it were.
Yeah. Well, like I say, Alan, I have got the garage, the brickwork's up, I've bought the brickwork, the block and everything, the brick is up, I've paid for that lot, and now I've got the roof on, the tiles on, it's just some certain things now I'm stuck to pay for, you know.
For example, what?
Well, so far now I've got it wants rendering all off, it wants concreting at the back part.
So in other words, Paul, the suggestion you're making is that you've got the garage, it's perfectly usable at the moment.
Well, in a way, yeah.
Well, it's usable or it isn't.
There's just some other materials I need, and I'm stuck.
Well, it's usable was the question. Is it usable or is it not? It doesn't matter how many materials you need, it's either usable or it isn't. Is it?
It is usable,
It is
yeah.
usable.
Yeah.
So to go to the Social Security and say I have to leave my wheelchair outside would be actually talking nonsense. You don't, you leave it in the garage. Sorry, I doubt that you'd get anywhere, Paul, but feel free. Why not ask?
Anyway, much obliged, Alan.
Thank you.
Bye now.
To celebrate the return of Harp Lager to the Scaresbrick Hotel on Lord Street, Southport, we're having a special Heartbeat Party Night this Wednesday. There'll be fun for everyone, together with giveaways and prizes, including tickets to see Depeche Mode in concert. You'll be able to meet Red Rose Radio's Allan Beswick too from 7:45, so make sure you're at the Scaresbrick Hotel on Lord Street, Southport this Wednesday.
Because your car ain't right for you. Bradshaw's Car Delight. New and used, they've got it right. Cars with dealer bill. Lowest prices, it's a steal. Bradshaw's have today 400 cars to drive away. So who you gonna call? Bradshaw. Yeah. Prison 54083. There's a car for you at Bradshaw. Who's the biggest Ford dealer? Bradshaw. And where'd you get the best deals? Bradshaw. I can't hear you. Hey, Bradshaw's!
Right. We're back with you after the news.
The Midnight News, this is Steve Allen. The former beauty queen who says she snorted cocaine and made love with cricket star Ian Botham in the West Indies says she's sorry she ever met the England player. And the former Miss Barbados, Lindy Field, says she's apologising for the hassle her statements have caused the Botham family. Botham's lawyers are reported to be launching legal action over Miss Field's story in the News of the World. But tonight, the News of the World said no writs had been received by them. Botham's wife, Kathy, is flying to Antigua with other players' wives. The England team are playing the 5th test there on Friday. Meanwhile, Graham Gooch has agreed to play in the final test after talks with Donald Carr, the secretary of the Test and County Cricket Board. Mr Carr flew out to meet Gooch after the cricketer took exception at being criticised for having played in South Africa. Violence against the Royal Ulster Constabulary continues. An officer has been shot in both legs after being ambushed by 4 armed men as he drove his car over Craigavon Bridge in Londonderry. Northern Ireland Police Chief Sir John Herman says it's nonsense to say the attacks on policemen and their families are a spontaneous outburst by young loyalists upset at the Anglo-Irish Accord, which gives Dublin a say in the running of the province. Sir John says it's coordinated, as proved by a galaxy of weapons put on show in Belfast.
I think that to suggest that it was spontaneous is pursuing naivety or deception to the extreme. The people who are perpetrating the attacks on policemen's housing are, in the use of the old term, cannon fodder. I am satisfied that there is a very sinister hand behind it all.
A British businessman cleared by an Old Bailey jury of masterminding the escape of a Libyan facing drugs charges says he's been the victim of a show trial. 48-year-old Godfrey Shiner says the prosecution was the result of a shabby deal between the Egyptian and British governments. Tim Crook reports.
Godfrey Shiner's great misfortune has been knowing a Walter Mitty amateur James Bond called Anthony Gill, who worked as an agent for the Libyans. Gill lured him to Cairo and got him arrested for plotting an assassination of a Libyan exile. After 6 months in Cairo, he was deported to Britain, where Gill accused him of masterminding the escape of a Libyan facing drugs charges. Shiner thinks he was only released from Cairo after Britain agreed to put him on trial.
I think a lot of this was a show for the Egyptians. I'm not certain why, unless it was just an exchange for a sewerage contract.
Gill will be sentenced tomorrow. Tim Crook, IRN, the Old Bailey.
The print union, SOGAT, have put forward an offer to reduce picketing outside Rupert Murdoch's plant at Wapping. It says it'll pull its pickets out of one road leading to the plant if police reduce the exits used by delivery lorries. Bad weather, including heavy snowfalls in northern England, have forced the closure of the A66 between Durham and Cumbria. Police say the entire length of the highway from Scotch Corner to Penrith is now closed to all traffic, and many drivers caught by the bad conditions have been forced to abandon their cars. Independent Radio News.
April in Paris is everyone's dream, and now thanks to Red Rose Radio and National Travel World, it can be yours. On Friday the 18th of April, we will depart from the Red Rose area by luxury coach with a champagne send-off, heading for the luxurious Penta Hotel in Paris, where you will spend 2 nights with continental breakfast provided before your return late Sunday evening. At £89 per head, you can afford to make your April in Paris dream come true by contacting your nearest branch of National Travel World today or Red Rose Radio Reception.
Ring him if you dare.
And to do so, you ring Preston 561,000. Hello, Roger. Hello, Roger. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Right, what do you want?
I think Formula 2 ballet should be introduced to Hoskin Street for the unemployed, free or half price.
You think what?
That Formula 2 ballet should be introduced to Hoskin Street for the unemployed, half price or free.
What's a Piginelli's Formula 2 ballet?
Prostitution.
Oh, I see. Well, why do you want it? Why do you want it? Why do you want it? I'd have a conversation with you if you weren't such a jerk. Why do you want it free? Why do you want it free?
You still there?
Well, I am, if you are. Why do you want it? Yes, it's no good shouting, fellow, there is no good shouting. You must come to terms with the fact that we can't have a conversation if you shout and prove yourself to be an absolute total pillock. Now, we're giving you a little credit and hoping that inside that exterior there is, hiding away, a brain. No, it would seem there isn't. Never mind. I'll do Bob.
Hello, Alan. Before there was a woman on talking about contraception and the Catholic Church's view towards it, and you said that the reason why Catholics can't use contraception is because the Pope has said so and because the Pope's infallible. Is that right?
In matters of doctrine, yes. The Catholic Church believes that to be the case.
Well, actually, the Catholic Church, the doctrine of the Catholic Church says on papal infallibility that only if the Pope speaks from St. Peter's itself, or as the Church says, ex cathedra from the seat at St. Peter's, is he infallible. And only twice in history has that ever happened. And certainly this Pope has never spoken ex cathedra.
So are you saying that Catholics might as well say, well, he's not prepared to make it an infallible one, so we might as well do whatever we feel like?
No, what the Catholic Church teaches is that we should all follow our own consciences, but that our consciences... No, that's what the Church teaches.
So you're saying the Church says it's okay to use contraception if that's what your conscience says?
The Church teaches that we should follow our consciences, but that it should be an informed conscience, and that is what the Pope is trying to do, is inform.
Well, when you say an informed conscience, are you saying that those who have all the information that the Pope has issued on it, and indeed that the Catholic Church has given as its teaching, all that information, if they then with their conscience say, OK, let's use it, they're not committing any sin?
No, if that's what they really believe.
That seems very convenient and, correct me if I'm wrong, but diametrically opposed to the statement contraception is sinful. And those words have been said by the Pope.
That is what the Church teaches. The Church teaches...
The Church teaches it's sinful, but if you don't think it's a sin, despite that teaching, you can still retain your Catholicism and actually breach the teaching of that Catholic Church.
Yes, sin...
Seems extraordinary.
Sin is distinguished by
seems
the
to get
Church.
the cake and the halfpenny.
The Church teaches that for something to be a sin, firstly you've got to do it by your own free will. Secondly, you have to believe it's a sin. Okay, so if you don't believe...
So if somebody decides to chop up their baby, that's okay, providing they think it's okay.
Not thinking that it's okay, no. If or not...
Well, just a moment. The Church says it's only a sin if you do it willingly and you know it to be a sin.
Yeah.
Well, that means that if I decided to chop up somebody's baby and did it just because I felt like, because I wanted to try out my axe, and I thought, well, this is a sin. Now, if I did that, that would be a sin.
Yeah.
But if I chopped up the baby and thought, there's no wrong with that, the axe needs testing, for heaven's sake, chop, 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 that would be acceptable. That's not a sin at all.
Well, presumably if you did that, then you'd be psychologically disturbed anyway, so you couldn't...
That's an interesting cop-out, isn't it? So everyone that uses contraception, according to the Roman Catholic Church, is psychologically disturbed.
No.
Because they cannot accept the Church's definition.
The analogy doesn't fit.
I see. So when the Church says that it is a sin to use contraception, the objective of that statement is to convince people that it's a sin.
Yes.
I see. Now, I accept that. Now, if they fail in that objective, and the people in the Roman Catholic Church believe, or some of the people believe, it's not a sin, then where do we go from there?
Well,
you see, they're rejecting the Church's teaching on that issue, and so they are aware that their Church believes it to be a sin, but they do not. Now, I don't think it is acceptable, is it, for you to be able to pick and choose which of the Church's teachings you're prepared to believe? Whatever happened to the absolute faith requirement of Roman Catholicism?
Well, the Pope has never claimed to be a demagogue. He says what he believes. Okay.
Well, are you suggesting then that there are only two rules, these two edicts in the particular way you've outlined, these two infallible edicts of the Pope, are the only rules of the Catholic Church, and everything else is a lot of bullshit that the Church hopes you might like?
No.
Well, what are you saying then? The Church can't have it both ways. I'm sorry, I know they'd like to, because all churches, all religions, are pretentious, two-faced, lying doctrines. There's no way. No, there's no way round that. You're convincing me still further. Churches and religions are just cons with which to rip off the public. That is a fact. It's inescapable. It's a dirty lie. Right. Now, you're telling me that the Roman Catholic Church says to people, look, doing that's wrong. But if you don't think it's wrong, it's okay, carry on.
It doesn't say
Well, that is
no.
bullshit. Well, what are you saying it says, then?
You're just a hung-up Catholic, Alan.
Well, I may well be hung up, but I'm not hung up by the same things you are.
I'm not hung up at all.
Perhaps if we hung everybody up by him, we wouldn't need any contraception.
The Church tells you, right, what it thinks. It doesn't then judge a person. The Church...
Anthony...
The Church judges a sin.
I'm sorry, Bob, but to actually suggest that the Church says this is what it is, but if you don't want to do it, it's all right by us.
It doesn't say that.
Well, come on, make your mind up.
It doesn't say if you don't want to do it. It says if, on your informed conscience, you don't believe something to be a sin, then you are not necessarily committing a sin when doing that.
So the Church actually says that when we tell you it's a sin, you don't have to believe it, because it doesn't matter.
It doesn't say that, no. It says you must have an informed conscience. If the
Well, what is information, for crying out loud? They say this is a sin, but if you don't think it's a sin, that's okay. That's what they're saying.
No.
And you just said it was.
The Church can tell...
Now, make your mind. Correct me if I'm wrong. You perhaps didn't hear what I said. Correct me if I'm wrong. The Church teaching is this. If we tell you that something is a sin, but you don't think it's a sin despite that telling, then in your case, it isn't a sin.
Yeah.
Well, that's a pretty clever game, isn't it?
You'd have to.
In other words, we'll make the rules and we'll tell you what they are, but if you don't like the rules, you just change them and do what the pig and hell you feel like, because as long as you're happy, we're happy. Bullshit.
If you had
Bullshit. If that's Catholicism, then you can shove it with the rest of the religions. It's crap.
If you had moral justification for doing
Moral
what the church believes.
justification? Oh, come on. You're trying to tell me that the Pope doesn't mind people, or the Catholic Church doesn't mind people using contraception, providing they've made that decision themselves?
I'm not saying it doesn't mind it, no. What it says is it won't judge the people in their circumstances.
I'm sorry, I don't accept that.
Well, that's what the church teaches.
Well, the church is crap, then.
Well, in your opinion, yes, but...
Well, in the opinion of any reasonable thinking person. Either it believes its own teachings or it doesn't. The church is surely a collective view of a group of people.
Which teaching are you saying the church does not believe?
Well, it doesn't seem to believe in this teaching about contraception, providing the people who it tells it to say, nah, I don't like that, I'm not having that.
The church believes its teaching, that's what the church is saying. It does believe its teaching. What the church is saying
just a minute.
is that they are not necessarily infallible. And before you were saying that because the
Okay, well, I'll accept the correction.
was infallible,
I will
you're wrong.
accept the correction on the infallibility.
Right.
Right, that's fine. I accept that, because I don't profess to know the Roman Catholic or any other religion intricately. But this issue, which is a plain language issue to me, is you're telling me that the Roman Catholic Church in this country teaches, and it does teach, a very firm doctrine that contraception is sinful. That is a very firm doctrine. That's what it teaches.
Well, artificial contraception, yeah.
Well, yes, okay. But that's what it teaches. Now, you're then telling me, but if you do indulge in contraception, there's no need to mention it at confession, providing it has been an informed decision.
He doesn't say that, no. He doesn't say there's no need to mention it at confession.
No, but the move on from that is that if you do practice contraception and you've made an informed decision, then you're not committing a sin.
The church would say, well, how have you come to that informed decision?
No, it wouldn't.
It would.
Oh, I see.
And it would say that when you went...
Well, just a moment then. So, before we actually can decide whether Joe Bloggs and Mrs. Bloggs are committing a sin, they've got to have discussed it with the church. So it's not just a decision informed from the information of the teaching. They've actually all got to go down there and discuss it.
It depends what you mean by the church.
The church hierarchy, the church hierarchy, the pastor, the priest, call him what you will. How far up the ladder have they got to go before their decision becomes informed?
Well, that's a matter for them,
Can't they just have a quick pray with God? I mean, how high can you get?
Well, that's a matter for them, isn't it?
Well, according to you it is, but surely the collective rules of the religion are a matter for the religion.
Well, I don't think they are collective rules.
Well, just a moment. Let me ask you a question then. Correct me if I'm wrong, I keep harping back to this point, but you're telling me the Roman Catholic Church says, without any hesitation, that it is sinful to engage in artificial contraception.
It says that is a sin, yes.
Right. It says it's a sin. But it has another teaching that says, if your informed decision is that it's not a sin, okay, go ahead and do it.
It doesn't say, okay, go ahead and do it. What
it says don't do it because we still think it's a sin and you're wrong.
No, what it says is...
So you're saying you can actually believe it's wrong and not do it, or you can not believe it's wrong and do it. But even if you do believe it's not wrong and do it, it's still wrong anyway, but we won't tell you, because you've made an informed decision.
It says, what it says is, if you then go ahead and do it, believing that it is not a sin, then it says you will not be judged for that. You'll not be classed as a sinner in a sense. Although it's not saying the action in itself is still not a sin. What it is saying is that if you don't believe it to be a sin on an informed conscience, then who are we to judge you for that?
I see. So they're actually saying that we only give you some guidelines and you can do what you feel like, providing you think it's right.
More or less, yeah.
Waste of time bothering to join the damn mess. How do Delius, for God's sake? Hello, Delius? Never mind, Delius is pigged off and well shut of him or her. How do Anthony?
Hello, Al. How do Al? Listen, I want you, if you can settle a small dispute for us, actually. I want you to put yourself as a referee on a football field.
Never. How do Califer? Gone.
Hello?
How do Caroline?
Hello,
I'm a Beck National student at Nelson and Con College.
You're a what?
Beck National, it's a business studies course.
Oh, I see.
And I've applied for 4 polytechnics and I've been turned down for HNDs. And it's supposed to be an OND course, or equivalent to the old OND. And yet A-level students who haven't even done business studies are getting actual places at Polytechnic.
Why are you telling me this?
Well, I thought you might like to know. I mean,
Well, thanks for telling me then.
We've got to spread the word around about Beck being good. And
Well, there's not much
really
point. Well, as
publicising
far
it.
as I'm concerned, anyone that goes and does business studies is wasting their time.
Where's that?
Well, it's a pain, isn't it? What do they teach you?
Well, we do accounts and economics and all sorts.
Yeah, how many millionaires have been?
What do you mean, how many millionaires?
How many millionaires have learned how to be a millionaire at your
In this day and
garbage
age,
course?
You need to be able to learn things like that, because
Do you?
there's so much unemployment.
So, there's unemployment amongst accountants. The chartered accountants can't get jobs.
No, because obviously they can't, because they're producing too many accountants. But I'm not going to be an accountant.
What are you going to be then?
I want to do management.
Management? No one can teach you to manage.
Oh, very funny.
It's not funny, it's a fact. No one can teach you to manage. I've worked for some crap managers with university degrees, and I've worked for some good uns who've never stepped foot in a college. No one can teach you to manage people.
No, not to manage just
You mean to
that.
push pieces of paper
You
about?
need to be able to do other things to manage than just tell people what to do. It just doesn't involve that.
Well, it seems then you're on the wrong course for it.
What do you mean?
Well, the colleges won't accept your course, so you must be on a crap
Hang on
course.
a minute. Have you got something wrong to do? Are you upset about Nelson and Con College?
No,
Well, why are you being like this then?
I'm not. You're telling me that you can't get into a polytechnic with your qualification if you get it. So I'm telling you, you must be on the wrong course, or else your college is crap,
Yeah,
which is
but
right.
I'm wondering why this is it. Why the government have these
I've no
courses
idea
and then
why.
we can't get in.
I've no idea why.
Oh, you've no idea
Perhaps
why.
you ought to address that question to the government.
Right, I'll do that then.
All right.
I thought you were clever, you see.
Well, I'm not clever enough to know what a college is doing. I don't really give a damn what a college is doing.
Oh, fair enough.
I think further education these days is in many, many cases an awful waste of government money. My money.
Oh, you really think so?
I don't make these things up.
Oh, okay then.
Ta-ra.
Goodbye.
How do, Kurt?
How do, Alan? What's the difference between a buffalo and a bison?
A basin can hold water. I suppose a water buffalo can.
Ah.
Ta-ra. How do, Stephen?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Alan. The England cricket team playing in the West Indies, I know why they're losing the games.
Well, don't tell me. Tell the Test and County Cricket Board. How do, Garfield?
Yeah, how do, Alan? Why did little Jack Horner sit in a corner?
Because that's where the chair was.
Good morning. I'd like a pick, a shovel, and a treasure map. You know, X marks the spot, win £5,000, that sort of thing.
Yes, of course. Anything else?
Yes, a packet of delicious sun-made California raisins, please.
There seems to be a packet of sun-made California raisins attached to your map, sir.
Join Sun-Made's Great California Gold Rush now. You could win £5,000, and every map comes with its own raisins.
What an amazing coincidence!
Yes, sir.
Sun-Made California raisins. They're not just for fruitcakes.
No!
Attention all decision makers, sales directors, sales managers and buyers. You cannot afford to miss the Lancashire Industry and Commerce Business to Business exhibition at the Exhibition Centre, Norbreck Castle Hotel in Blackpool. This extravaganza on a wide cross-section of industry takes place on the 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th of April with over 200 companies represented. It's the Northwest's leading industrial event. So make a date in your diary for the Lancashire Industry and Commerce Business to Business exhibition at the Norbreck Castle Exhibition Centre, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th of April.
It's the place to come, where shopping can be fun. The Newmarket Waterloo Road.
Waterloo Road in Blackpool has a number of markets dotted along it, but two of them stand out from the rest, the Newmarket and M2 Market. They're both packed with top-quality bargains to give you peace of mind when shopping. The Newmarket and M2 Market are also convenient because they're directly opposite each other on Waterloo Road, Blackpool. Don't settle for anything else and don't be fooled by imitations. The Newmarket and M2 Market are the original and still the best.
It's the place to come, where shopping can be fun. The Newmarket Waterloo Road.
For the best deals on Vauxhall Opel cars, get down to Moreland Motors, Blackpool's main Vauxhall Opel dealer.
Moreland Motors.
That was a quick one, wasn't it? I expected it a bit longer than that. How do, Stan? Whoops, wrong line. Hello, Stan.
Yeah, I started work last week butchering, and what happened was I cut the top of my finger off, like, you know, and I was wondering what I could do about it, you know. I had to go to hospital, like, and they stitched it up, like, you know, what can I do about it? How can I claim insurance, like?
If you did it at work, I suppose you may well be insured against such accidents. You can claim from them. If the company were in some way negligent, you can claim against the company. Or indeed, you may even be able to claim industrial injuries. Say goodbye to the cretin in the background. How do Winnie? Who? Quinny?
Quinn.
What do you want?
I'd like to tell you the poem if I could, Al, please.
Well, you can't. How do Sean?
Hello, Alan. Yeah, I'd just like to tell Stan what to do about his finger, actually, that he had cut off. What he ought to do is phone up the local environmental health department and talk to the health and safety blokes who should get down there to the company to check to make sure that all the machines and everything are safe.
You cut it off when he was slicing meat.
Pardon?
You cut it off when he was slicing meat.
What, in a butcher's or something?
Yeah, he said in a butcher's.
Did he? Sorry, I didn't hear that bit.
It's all right, never mind. Thank you for telling us. One wonders how you found out he was going to ring. Hello, Phil.
Hello, Alan. I was wondering whether you'd be able to give me a bit of advice. The other day, I bought a chocolate bar, and I found inside a piece of metal, and I took it back to the shop, and the shopkeeper told me there was nothing he could do about it. Is there anything I could do about it, Alan?
Take it to the Environmental Health Department immediately.
OK, thank you, Alan. Good
pleasure. How do Neil?
Hello, Alan. Alan?
What do you want?
Yes, I want to know how much you made for the Carol Quayle appeal.
I've no idea.
Well, I thought you were supposed to be doing something about that.
I don't remember.
On the HICTB.
HICTB?
Yeah. The YTS thing.
No. I don't remember doing anything for anyone called Carol Quayle.
Oh, well, you know, I just heard on the radio you were supposed to be doing something about it.
When did you hear this?
Oh, quite a long time ago.
How long?
About 2 months ago.
2 months?
Yeah.
I don't remember doing anything 2 months ago to do with the Carol Quayle appeal. What was I supposed to be doing?
Oh, you're supposed to be helping them out or something, and I've seen it on the radio.
You've seen it on the radio? That's a remarkable achievement, Phil. Or Neil, or whatever your name is. Well, never mind. It seems you've got nothing else to say. Goodbye. Perhaps you should continue looking at your radio and see if you see anything else on it. How do Neil? That was Neil. How do Ian?
Hello, Alan. I'm just wondering if you can tell me my legal rights. I've bought a Ford Escort car, and I've paid £600 cash for it. The bloke told me it was in good condition. Now, I've took it to this mechanic I know called Toddy, and he's had a look on it. Apparently there's no chassis on it.
Goodbye. We don't talk to people who name other people. How do Sandra?
Hello, Alan.
Yep.
I'd just like to say, I think you're cruel, self-centred,
You're absolutely right.
loud-mouthed,
Absolutely right.
arrogant man.
Well, why don't you
But
turn
Alan,
why don't you turn the radio off then, you dozy cow? How do Rupert?
Hello. I think cannabis should be legalised.
Why?
Because if people who bought it could buy it legally, then they wouldn't have to have any dealings with the black market. And if they didn't have any dealings with the black market, then they wouldn't be exposed to the pressure to graduate, so to speak, to harder, dangerous drugs.
Perhaps that pressure would be greater.
No, I don't think.
Why not? Because all the people who are currently making astronomical, and I'm talking about the pushers, not the locals, but the pushers that are making astronomical profits at the moment out of cannabis, will have to find some other way of making those profits. And I don't think it is beyond their ingenuity to get the people involved in that harder drug.
Well, people who drink or smoke, say, and they're the two acceptable drugs, and they actually kill people, they're not exposed to that type of pressure, and that is because I feel that...
The answer is those people are exposed to that kind of pressure. An awful lot of them reject that kind of pressure. An awful lot of them never meet that kind of pressure. But then the people who are involved in cannabis almost always will be smokers and will be drinkers. So to say that the people who are smokers and drinkers are not approached by.
Yeah, but it won't be the cannabis that kills them, will it?
No one was suggesting it was. I was suggesting to you that your statement that the smokers and drinkers aren't approached is bunkum. The people who are involved in cannabis at the moment are smokers and drinkers almost invariably, and as such they have been approached. And so I'm sorry, your statement that smoking and drinking doesn't lead to cannabis is in some cases totally wrong, because those who use cannabis have come from the ranks of smokers and drinkers, almost always.
Yes, but that doesn't have
So that knackers your theory. How do Rupert, we've just had, this one's Stefan, is it?
Stefan.
Stefan, then.
Good evening, Alan. Yes, I'd just like to say a few words about the rather emotive subject of abortion.
Go on.
Abortion, yes. A lot has been said about perhaps when is life? Is it when the child is born and takes its first breath? And I'm not a medical man, and as you know, I've spoken to you before, I'm a man that trusts on God's word. And just a few words that he says that will really clarify this. And he said to a man named Jeremiah, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations."
Will you tell me whether you agree with an abortion or not? I don't want to hear all this crap out of the Bible. I'm not interested. Tell me what you think.
You want to know what I think? I think that what God says is...
I want to know what you think about abortion. You tell me what you think. Don't quote God. Tell me what you think.
But my opinion can be wrong.
Goodbye. I'll do Andrea.
Hello, Alan. You said that you think some higher education is a waste of money.
Would you like to get my statement correct, Andrea?
Yeah, would you not...
Would you like to get my statement... Andrea?